Okay, this is Melissa from FlutterBear Creations, and today I'm just going to show you how to install your 6D Premiere software or any other version of 6D embroidery software from the internet, as opposed to installing it from your CD installation disk. Some of you may not have CD drives, and that's very common right now. Due to the fact that a lot of laptops and things are designed to be lighter and slimmer and a little more portable, and they did that by cutting out your CD drives, which are quickly becoming, on the road to obsolete. So that in mind, you may not have a CD drive. I do not have a CD drive. I do have an external one. You can pick those up online or at most stores for right around $15 or $20 if you want to use one that will connect to your USB port. But if you prefer to save your money, you can download this on the web currently, and I suggest you do this. And once you download it, you can save the download files permanently to a backup drive or a USB drive of your choice. So that way you'll have them in the future and you won't have to depend on them being available online. I do foresee a day when someday they won't be available online, when the software is considered obsolete, or Husqvarna Viking or FOF have decided to not support the programs, who knows, maybe 5 years down the road or something, maybe tomorrow, who knows. These are things we can't control, so do save a copy of these files for yourself after you've downloaded them on a permanent location. I do not consider a USB drive, thumb drive, to be a permanent location. It's a great temporary storage, but thumb drives do have a tendency to be a bit unstable, and they can easily be corrupted or lose their data, things like that. So it's not a question of if your thumb drive will fail, it's a question of when. Thumb drives are great, but never depend on them for permanent storage. They are great temporary file housing. With that said, go ahead and open your browser. I will try and post the link if able to later on for you. But for now, go to Google and type in 6D download portal and hit enter if it hasn't come up for you already. There are a couple different links. You'll get all kinds of things that are unrelated. They have changed the name of the software for the new version, and it's no longer being labeled as Husqvarna Viking or FOF software as of today, the last couple months really. They have changed the name of the software to Premiere Plus is the new brand of software, and that's universal whether you're buying it from your FOF dealer or your Husqvarna Viking dealer. And so they've changed the names of the software a little bit. They didn't keep with the usual naming convention they've had for years now. 3D software, 4D software, 5D, 6D software, and a lot of people thought that the new version was going to be called a 7D software, but it's not. It's the Premiere Plus software, embroidery software, and you've got Premiere Plus Extra, and you've got Premiere Plus Ultra, which is what has replaced the 6D Premiere level. So I am using 6D Premiere. I have not upgraded to the latest version, but you're going to click this here anyways. It says Premiere Plus software downloads, and you see here in the preview on my screen that it says 6D embroidery system download portal. You can click this one and it should take you to the right page. Your results, your search results may be a little different because you may have a different browser, and obviously I've been here before. You can see that my link is purple as opposed to blue, which is a link that I have not clicked. I have clicked this before, so it's purple. Your results may vary. I will try to post the link directly in case you can't get it this way, but this is the easiest way I have found to get the page because the website address is very long. So we're going to click this one here, and it should take you to the new PremierePlusEmbroidery.com software downloads page. So if you scroll down a little bit here, there are two buttons, 60 Embroidery System download portal and the new Premiere Plus Embroidery System download portal. So if you have the newer version, you know, what we thought may have been 7D, it's no longer. You now have the Premiere Plus. You want to go ahead and go to this link. But if you are still on the older system, like I am, we were going to go to the 60 Embroidery System download portal. So go ahead and click that. If your browser does not allow pop-up windows, you may have to go into the browser settings and change it to allow pop-ups. Otherwise, you may not get the windows that are coming up here. You can pick your languages here if you speak a different language. I'm not that intelligent, so here we go. Alright, if you have not registered before for your software online, then you need to go to I do not have a previous registration and go through that and then hit next. I have already registered, so I'm going to pick this one. And you'll put in your registration credentials. So just a moment. And then hit next. It's going to ask you to enter your name and email address and things like that. If you haven't done it before. If you have done it before, then it should be pre-filled in. You can just confirm that your information is still accurate. Hit next. After that, you should get to the download page, and it says the following software updates are available. And you'll see there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different things to download. It doesn't matter which order you download them in. You can download them all. So go ahead and click all the download buttons. These are going to download to your default location that you have set in your browsings. For many of you, that is going to be in your Windows File Explorer folder under the Downloads folder. For others, you may have it set to other locations. You may have it going to My Documents, maybe you have it going to the desktop. So you need to know where you have your setup for your downloads to go. I usually have things set up to go to my desktop when I download them. So it's going to ask if you want to save the file. Go ahead and save. Go to the next one and save. Next one, save. And just go ahead and do this for all of the links. Alright, this one for some reason is taking a little bit. There we go. I may get that pop up several times because I clicked on it in my impatience. Okay, now I am using my Firefox browser. You may be on your Internet Explorer browser. It may be a little different. On my Firefox browser, I have a little meter here that tells me that things are still downloading currently. It's estimating 23 minutes. They can be rather long downloads if you don't have a high-speed internet connection. Mine probably won't take this long. If it does, I'll be really surprised. But we're going to go ahead and download. Once they are all downloaded completely, we'll move on to the installation. So I'm going to watch this and wait, and we'll come back in a few moments when they're downloaded. I do want to mention too, if you have previously downloaded the free version of the 60 Explorer plugin, you may not have to reinstall that one, but I always do just because I like them all installed freshly at the same time. I don't know, I'm funny about that. Alright, we are going to verify that we got all 10 downloads, I believe it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 we should have. So I'm going to go into my Windows Explorer, my File Explorer folder, and go to my Downloads folder and see if we got 10 items, all with different names, to make sure you didn't download 2 of the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're good. So now that we have that, you can actually close out of the download portal and you can close your browser. You won't need it anymore. So, and that's just my log of what was being downloaded. So you're going to go here, and I like to start first with the device drivers. So just double click on those. Hit next, hit the accept the terms of the license agreement. I do advise you to read that just in case you don't agree with the license agreement. But if you don't agree with it, you won't be able to use your software, and they don't take refunds. So there you have it. Hit next. It's going to ask permission to install this on your hard drive. It just wants to make sure that's not a virus overtaking your computer, so you do need to give it permission. Go ahead and hit yes. There is kind of an order to these that we want to use in installing, so that things get put in the proper order, in the proper places. So it wants to know if we would like to install the device driver software, but always trust and install, and finish. Okay, so that was device drivers. The next one I like to do is the applications. So go ahead and put system applications, double click on that. Pick your language. Give it a moment to extract all the files. Pretty much it's a simple process. Don't be intimidated by this. Applications, hit next. We would like to install the system applications on the computer. Click next. Accept the terms. Again, if you don't accept the terms, you won't have software to use. This is asking what location that you want this to put the program into. I always keep that the default program files folder that it picks. Easy to find that way. I recommend keeping it as is. Hit next. It wants to know if you want to associate all file types with the software. You know, if you have .vp3, do you want that to open in this software, or do you prefer that to open in a different software? Do you have .pes files? Do you want that to open in this software, or do you have a different software program that you prefer that to open into? So go ahead and choose if you don't want to associate it. If you would like another program to be the default program, then you want to pick Do Not Associate. If this is your only program that you are using for embroidery software, then go ahead and associate it for sure. I always associate mine. You can always change this later on in settings, so it's not a big deal. But that's what it's asking. It's asking if you want this to be your default program for handling your embroidery designs, and chances are this is what you would like it to be associated with. So go ahead and hit Associate All Embroidery Files. These are GEDCOM files. These are like family tree files. I currently don't use those at all, so I'm just going to leave it associated with this program. If that's something that you use in another program, then you may want to choose differently. And then click Install. This may take a few moments. Yes. Just let it think and do its thing and put all the files where they need to be going. Not a hard process, but it is a little tedious. Then hit Finish. Okay. Okay, so now we have the device drivers and the system applications both installed. The next one is the system components. Double click. Pick your language, hit OK. Hit Next. Hit Next. Accept the terms. Of course, you're going to accept the terms. And install. Give it permission. Yes. And hit Finish. Okay. The next thing you can go ahead and do is System Backgrounds. Double click. We're going to go through these, but there are a couple variations. I know this seems like the same thing over and over, but stick with me here as we go through these. Hit Next. Next. Accept the terms. Next. Install. Finish. Go ahead and do documentation. Okay. You'll notice that these are all .exe extensions. .exe. Those are executable files, means they are programs that you can install, but they're not ready to use until you go through this installation process. These .exe files are what you want to save on a backup somewhere so that you can install them. You can put them on a thumb drive, take them to other computers, install them, wherever you would like. Of course, you need to have your HASP security dongle to be able to use the software, so that has to be plugged into a USB port on whatever computer, but you can install this on any computer you like. It will only open when the dongle is inserted into that computer, however. If you save these .exe files, you can take those and transfer those to any computer, even ones that don't have a CD drive, and go from there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and proceed through this. We'll hit Next. Next. Accept the terms. Next. Go ahead and do Complete. and install. Finish. It's updating things. I have noticed that this is .exe.parts. It means that it did not finish downloading this entire module. So I need to go ahead and go back to the download portal and re-download this one. So if you have this happen to you, just re-download this one. For my purposes, I have to just download the system samples and go from there. So we're going to go do that, and I'll come back when it's downloaded. So just a moment here. Okay, so I have gone and re-downloaded the system samples. So next we have to be able to install the dongle activation software, the drivers and such. This is the HASP user setup. This one happens to be version 7_41.exe. This is going to be required to install the remaining modules that we have not installed yet. So before we can do this though, we have to turn off our antivirus software and firewall, because sometimes those can interfere with the ports and they won't allow this to activate the dongle. So at this point I'm going to go, and this is going to vary depending on what programs you have on your computer, and I apologize, I have no way to help with other versions of software, but for me, my antivirus software I use is Avast, and if I right click on it, you'll see several options. Sometimes on yours, you'll have the ability to go ahead and disable it from here by right-clicking. If right-clicking doesn't give you an option to disable, then you can go ahead and double-click on your icon, and it should open up your antivirus program, and somewhere within the settings of your program, there should be an option to disable your antivirus and firewall. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to disable until the computer is restarted, because we'll be doing that in a moment. So it's wanting to make sure that I'm really asking this. Yes, I want to continue. This does make you vulnerable, so don't go to the web and play games and download things while your antivirus is off. So this also disabled my Windows firewall. If this did not automatically disable your Windows firewall, on Windows 8.1 I can right click on the Windows button over here and go to Control Panel and go to System and Security and Windows Firewall, and you can go through there to turn off the firewall. So as you can see, mine, it says that I'm disabled. So you'll use the same process to go back and turn those on later if you want them back on when we're done. And now that the antivirus is disabled, we can go ahead and install the HASP user setup. And you're going to need your dongle. So this will be plugged into a USB port. And if I recall, I think it'll tell us when to plug it in. So it's going to go through its little process here, hit next. It wants you to exit Windows programs. If you have a bunch of other programs open, I would do that. Go ahead and close all your other programs. So I just have the program open that I'm using to record this. So hopefully this, will not interfere with that. Go ahead and hit next. Accept the terms. Again, if you don't, you can't use the software. Next. Next. Okay, it's telling you that it uses a specific port to communicate with local and remote components. If you use a firewall, ensure it does not block the port. So this is why we turned off the firewall. We'll go ahead and click Finish. And that should be installed. So when you plug your USB dongle into your port now, it should light up, and that's telling you that it's functioning. Now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and install the 60 System Explorer plugin. Pick your language, hit Next, accept the terms, hit Next, or agree, yes. Now after this is installed, it may require that we restart our computers. Click Finish. Yes, it says it must restart the system before we can use the system. So go ahead, we're going to restart our computers. So I will pause this and come back in a few moments. If you want to do the same, just pick up on this video where we are leaving off, so kind of note the time on the video and come back and pick it up from here. So I'm going to go ahead and restart. My computer is going down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back now from restarting our computers. You should have your device drivers, your system applications, your system components, your documentation, and your plugin, as well as your dongle HASP setup all installed at this point. So there's just a few of these left to do. If you were to go through and click on these and try to install one of the other ones, I believe it's going to give us a message that we have to register. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and go up here to where it installed. It should have put an icon on your desktop. If not, you can go through your programs, find the 60 Embroidery System program, and open it. So I'm going to double click on the desktop icon, and then I'm going to double click on the shortcut here for 60 Embroidery. Can't believe I forgot that. Alright, plug in your security dongle into your USB port. You cannot open the program at any time. You cannot even close the program without the dongle being in. You cannot do anything on the program without that dongle being plugged in. So if you plug your dongle in, it should light up. Hit OK, and we'll try again. Okay, so we have the basic program. We don't have a lot of the extras installed yet. So, but this is the 60 program. It's open. We're going to go down here to configure. We're going to check the installation and activate the dongle. So let's go ahead and activate dongle. Now my dongle was already activated before. If you've never installed this before, you may have to go through this. And you'll have to go through the software registration here and enter the same information you used to download this from the 60 download portal. And you can go through the process and register your software. We can also go over here to check installation. By the way, I clicked on this little tools down here. It looks like a little wrench and screwdriver or something. They're really hard to see. They made these really tiny icons over here on the bottom left corner of your screen. But this is where I'm at. These are all the different modules. If you don't have Premiere, some of these, they will still show up, but they will not be activated. And if you click on them, you're going to get a big message on your screen that tells you that you need to upgrade or activate your dongle for it. It's just saying that you haven't paid for these services, so we're not unlocking them yet. If you upgrade, then some of those will unlock for you. But if you've paid for the Premier, then all of these should be unlocked. So we're going to check for the 60 embroidery system. Yep, it's saying that we did not install the samples yet. So it shows that we have correctly installed, though, the applications, components, the plugin, the backgrounds, the documentation, the HASP driver, and the samples we need to still do, not installed. So if you go back here and check on everything that you have left, this tells you that we did the drivers because we did those early on, even though it's not telling you that. We did the system applications, we did the components, we did the plugin, we did the backgrounds, we did the documentation, we did the dongle driver. We didn't do the samples, the super designs, which aren't listed over here, and we have not done the bonus designs. These were additions that they added later, so they just don't show up here. So we will add the bonus designs and the samples and the super designs in a moment here. Now if you check for 60 embroidery machine communication, it's going to tell you that that's not installed, and it's not. So I personally, I don't use it. I connect to my machine via the USB thumb drive, and that's how I like to transfer my files. But if you prefer to be connected via a cord to your embroidery machine, then you will need to install the machine communication module. So that's where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and close out of these. And we'll close out of that. So now that we are showing up as active, hopefully it will allow us to download, or install rather, it will allow us to install the rest of these. So we'll go ahead and do the bonus designs. I still have my dongle plugged in. Next, next, accept, next. It's asking where you want to install them. I just picked the default. I will put them in your documents, usually. Finish. Okay. Now we need to do the samples. If you ever get to a point where you decide to upgrade and sell your software, then you need to give them all of these files from the web, because these are the updates. They will not be able to get them without having the credentials to log in, and I know that most people don't grant those. They are not entitled to software support, so they cannot get that support any other way. You need to make sure that you give them things like this 2014 update, you know, and the updated files that are here, in addition to the original documentation manuals and CDs that you probably purchased it with. We'll hit next, next, I accept, next. It's going to go to Documents folder, install, finish, and we'll do the super designs. English, Again, it's telling you that it's going to go to the C drive in your Documents folder in the 60 Embroidery subfolder. You can change that location if you want this to go into a different location, but I suggest that you leave it there. That way if you ever call to get help from support, they'll know where the default locations are. Install. If you're a more advanced user and you know how to navigate your computer pretty well, then you can change those folders. If not, I would just suggest leaving them there. Finish. So we should be all up to date here. So if I go back to, let's reopen this so it'll refresh. We'll go back to here. Now what I'm going to do, because this is a shortcut to this folder, but I just want a shortcut to the actual program so I don't have to click twice to get to my program. Take this, right click on this one, hit create shortcut, and it'll ask if you want it to be placed on the desktop instead, but yes. So you can also just copy and paste it onto the desktop usually. So, but from now on we'll click this one, it'll go right into the program. Now you're open. Go down here to the little 6D configure, which is these little tools settings icon. We're going to check the installation, and it says they're all installed. Good job, we did it. And the machine communication again is not there, but we do have the plugin installed. Now if you want to install the 6D machine communication software, you can download that directly from the Husqvarna Viking or FOF complimentary web pages, complimentary software, just like I showed you to do from the 6D Explorer plugin video that I posted earlier. If you don't want to do it that way, your machine probably came with a disk that has the communication software on it. You can use the disk that came with your embroidery machine, and that should have been free. So go ahead and install that. If you intend to connect to your embroidery machine via a USB cable or cord, then you need to install this. If you intend to use only your USB stick to transfer files, then you won't have to worry about this. You can always install it later if you do decide you need it. I'm going to skip that, but that's how you can get those files. So we are installed, we are ready and up to go. There's a lot of things here for thread managers. You can check out the many manufacturers of thread that they already have listed. You can add your own for the companies that they don't have listed. Like I use a particular brand usually called Metro Embroidery threads, and they're not listed in this software, so I had to add them all manually. It took a long time, and we'll go over that in a different segment, but if you want to check to see if there are updates to the software, you can run Smart Update, and it will run you through that process. You'll have to log in, and you'll go through the same process that we've just done essentially. But since we just downloaded these from the web, I doubt that there are going to be any updates. So you should be pretty up to date right now. If you are putting it on from your CD or DVD disc, then you may have some updates to do in order to get like the other bonus designs and things like that they've added. Okay, and so now that you know that everything is installed, you can go and check. If you go to your Windows File Explorer folder here, you can go to Documents, which is where we allowed it to install everything by default. If you change that location during that process, it'll be somewhere else. You have to know where that is. But it should be here, and then go to 60 Embroidery. And you'll have lots of folders underneath that. Samples, if you create designs, they're going to go here by default. Bonus designs, lots of extra stuff that they gave. So you should be able to find all kinds of fun free designs. Remember, if you go in here, go to the switch from the Home tab to the View tab and pick one of these viewing options. And again, I always have these 3 items checked for viewing, but this will, you'll be able to see the embroideries here. So they gave you all kinds of free designs of different types. Here's some endless designs. Again, go to View and switch to Large Icons. This is the 60 Explorer plugin that's allowing you to view the actual designs. Those aren't showing up, so there we go. So there's all kinds of different designs that they sent. If you go back up a level, you'll go back to where we were. Guides has a lot of really important documentation in these 3 folders. So you've got the PDF information files, so read up on these, it'll help you learn your system. So here's all kinds of more documentation, so you can just go through these and click through and hit the up or the back arrow to go back to where you were, and you can go back out and see more. So this is where it stashes everything, you know, and of course if you create any designs, they're going to be in My Designs. It's empty because you haven't created anything yet, but they will save there by default unless you tell it to save somewhere else. You can always change that. So lots of great information here. So I hope that this was helpful. I know this was really, you know, long, tedious, and just really fine baby steps, but I know that, you know, not everybody feels really comfortable going through this process by yourself, and these intro videos, they're more for those kind of people. I hope that if you stuck with me though, that maybe it still enlightened you in some way, or at least, you know, gave you a good chuckle. But stick with me, we're going to get into some more nitty gritty and some more hands-on stuff in future videos. You know, please subscribe to my channel and leave comments, and hopefully you'll find something helpful, and maybe you'll find out some little tidbit that you didn't know. And if nothing else, you can laugh at me as I go through, so hopefully we'll just have fun on this journey together. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your software.